Where my girls at? Independent, free spirit. Ooh, it's something serious. Where my girls at? We link up in a cool minute. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. It's going down tonight. We going out tonight. Yeah, right. We going out tonight. It's going down tonight. Yeah, right. It's going down tonight. We going out tonight. Yeah, right. We going out tonight. It's going down tonight. Yeah, right.
Well, it is a magnificent Monday. It is Monday, and I'm excited to be here. You are tuned into We Got Issues on 9:10 a.m. the Superstation, WFDF. It is out of Detroit, but we are on the Superstation, which means that we can be heard all over the world. You guys, we have had a long break. 5 days off. 5 days off. Can you believe it? We have not been on in 5 days, but we are here. We're excited to be back. We pray that you had a super fantastic Thanksgiving. I'm telling you, are you guys, this is a whole conversation. Are you done eating leftovers? That's the question. Are you done eating leftovers? You know, Michael does such a great job bringing us on. Give yourself a big hand, Michael, for being on the job and taking care of us. He asked me, was I done with leftovers? I said, I probably got one more day, squeezing one more day. You know what? And that's just because I don't feel like cooking. But you know what? We are it's time to get rid of the leftovers. But we had an amazing Thanksgiving. I hope each and every one of you had an amazing weekend with your family, with your friends. I pray that you were safe and that you made incredible memories that will last you a lifetime. It is so good to be alive, and it is so good to be here with my girlfriends. I can't believe I haven't physically seen them in 5 days. Now, we talk all the time. The text message, that don't never cease, okay? Now, we may not be on.
It slowed down a lot.
But trust me.
It slowed down a lot.
It slowed down, but it was still bing, bing, bing. But you know, it's always so good to see them and to catch up. And of course, again, we're excited to be here on today. There's so much going on, but I'm excited, you guys. Today, we're going to have a very powerful show, and we have a guest here today. I'm so excited to introduce you guys to Chris Lambert, who is the founder and CEO of Life Remodeled. And when I tell you, his story is awesome. What he is doing in the city of Detroit, in the Detroit Metropolitan Area, in our neighborhoods is absolutely awesome. But it's a conversation that is not just a local thing. It is a broader conversation that we'll have about the urban areas around the country. You know, when it comes to putting money here and infrastructure and all the millions and billions of dollars that go around to make improvement, the inner city, urbans, most of the times they're the lowest on the totem pole. So we want to talk about that, what we can do to get some of those dollars into the urban areas. And so before we bring them on, again, I'm looking at my girlfriends, those of you that are watching us live, either on the 9:10 a.m. Facebook page or the Force of Friendship Facebook page. You can see us live there. But again, we're excited to be with you on this wonderful Monday. I'm going to throw it over to my girl, Caterina Harris Earl on the West Coast. What's up, Caterina?
Oh, it's a lot up. It's a lot up today. You know, unlike you, Chris, I did not move to a new house, but we're doing a remodel. So I told Crisette before y'all came on, I said, I promise you my face is going to freeze on here because I have so many Cyber Monday tabs open, okay? And I cannot reboot my computer. I got stuff in the cart. I got to get my sale. They got 40%. Oh my gosh, Sabrina loves, you know how you Sabrina, you're the one, your home always smells so good. So I had to go to bed with Bath and Body Works and get all my smell goods, you know, because I have a fake tree, y'all. I'm going to confess I have a fake tree.
Me too.
I have a fake tree, so I had to get the evergreen. I was like, how I make my tree smell like it's fake? But
You
I'm
just
gonna
spray
pass
it, baby. Spray it.
Yeah. But I just want to say this before I pass it back. The Soul Train Music Awards, OMG, Silk Sonic, open it up like I've made. Only thing was missing was Don Cornelius, Maxwell, and Ashanti. Maxwell did the splits. I'm like, that thing was. I'm gonna watch it again. It was so good. I loved it. If y'all didn't see it, anybody who didn't see it, go watch it. It really, really, really was good. It really was good. The whole thing from start to finish. Pass it back to you, Chris.
How do we go back and find it, Caterina? How do we go back and find it?
The regular shows, like I missed the American Music Awards, they don't replay that, but VH1, they replay it. Because Sabrina, I know you didn't watch it because Silk Sonic opened the show, and I was like, that's our boy Bruno, and she ain't in the chat. No, he opened and closed.
Bruno opened it? No way. Wow.
He opened and closed. But I have so much respect for him because as big a star as he is, now being who starts out by themselves and then gets in a group. It's always the other way around. He's taken a step back and letting him, he's singing background on that new song. And I just said that's a superstar.
Wow.
When you can share the wealth and the fame, because everybody gets out of the group and then they like ain't nobody trying to start a group after you have a career. So that's Bruno. Back to you, Chris.
Well, I'm gonna throw it over to Sabrina Goodwin Monday. How you doing, Sabrina? In Geneva Lake, I see that window, so that tells me you are back home from traveling to North Carolina for the holiday. How was your Thanksgiving?
Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. Just so much to be thankful for. Seeing family and friends and just time away. I totally unplugged. It was really awesome, really awesome. But it's like the reentry, the Monday after, where life is crazy. It's fast paced. You can't get enough done. You're running from point A to point B, but I'm glad to be back in position. Happy holidays, everybody. It is officially happy holidays. So it was all good, girlfriends. Good to see you. Good to see you. Let's get to our guest. Hey, Gloria, how are you?
I'm so good. I got a couple things to say. First, I want to say happy holidays to my girlfriends because I really haven't seen them, you guys. This is so crazy. We're on this talk radio show every day, Monday through Friday, and we still want to see each other more. That is crazy, number one. Number two, Chris, those curtains, for those of us who can see, those curtains are everything. Those curtains are everything.
Window treatments, Gloria. Those are window treatments, not curtains. Those are window treatments. Okay.
You know what? We didn't have this show for a long time.
Right.
And I don't decorate. So you better be glad I didn't call it material, okay? I could have called it material. I could have called it green material,
Hanging material.
So,
and that's in the kitchen. OMG, Chris, this morning in the kitchen, I was like, oh, man, beautiful.
I know. Just beautiful, 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 beautiful. And I don't have no window treatments, curtains, or material hanging from my stuff. So I appreciate everybody else's, okay? So I'm going to go get me some candles, and I'm going to imagine a tree already put up there. I'm going to imagine it until I go and get it. It looks like we're going to have some Christmas going on here, so I'm gonna do that. But it was an awesome Thanksgiving, you guys. It was an awesome. Let me tell you something. It is true that you have to operate in faith because stress was getting ready to take me and Ken over. Like, oh my gosh, the first Thanksgiving. Listen, okay, I'm gonna tell you about your girlfriend. You talking about window treatment? Half an hour before we sat down to eat, I remember I did not have plates.
No way.
Right, because when we did the renovation, we put everything away. We packed everything away. All the plates, all my china. I've been married twice, so I got a lot of good china, right? I got a lot of good china. So all my china's packed away someplace. We had Thanksgiving on paper plates, and I decorated, y'all. And then 30 minutes before, I'm like, oh my gosh, my china is locked up somewhere. I still don't know where it is, and I won't know where it is until next Thanksgiving. There you go. So back to you, Crisette, the classy girlfriend, right here, the classy girlfriend.
And you know what? I guarantee you that wasn't the highlight of your Thanksgiving. Sometimes we stress over the little things, and the bigger picture is you're with your family. You all had an amazing time. You saw your grandkids and lots of energy, lots of love. So you know what? Okay, you ate as long as they didn't have to eat off of their hands, everybody was good. Everybody was good.
No dishes. She says no,
No
dishes.
dishes.
That's the good part.
Absolutely. Just throw it away. Well, you guys, I am so excited about our show on today. I want you guys to bring to the stage our guest, Mr. Chris Lambert is with us on today. Yes, we're so excited to have Chris with us. You guys, let me just read a little bit of the statistics that I found. And this is according to the American Housing Survey. It says, on the whole, African American communities and low-income communities receive far less capital than their neighbors. Neighborhoods where less than 50% of residents are African Americans, they receive 4 times the total investment per capita of neighborhoods where more than 85% of residents are African American. Low poverty communities receive 1.5 times the investment per capita of high poverty ones. And so what that is telling us is that when you look at investments and where money is placed, it is rarely placed in the urban or low income communities. And so therefore, when you're driving, I don't care if you're driving in Detroit or you driving in Baltimore, or if you're in Los Angeles, or if you're in North Carolina or Ohio, every single major, well, I should say major, every single state has their urban areas. Every single state has areas that are filled with blight. And, let me just say this, and then I'm going to introduce Chris. I remember when we moved from Detroit and we were in a nice neighborhood in the Sherwood Forest neighborhood in Detroit. Then we moved to Bloomfield Hills. And I remember one day I was driving in the Bloomfield Hills area, and it looked as if the grass was greener. It felt like the skies were bluer. It felt like every bird was in a concert. You could hear, you saw the squirrels. And I remember thinking, if I lived in a neighborhood like this, your motivation, your inspiration is a lot higher. You feel better about life. You feel like you can get up and you can conquer the world. And then every time I would drive back to the inner city and I would look and I would see trash everywhere, and I would see torn down buildings, and I would see just so much blight everywhere. It was like your spirit just became depressed. And I said, you know what? There is something to where you live does make a difference and affect how you feel about your dreams, your aspirations, and the things you want to do. But I am so excited, you guys, that we have with us a young man that decided that he wanted to come back and he wanted to do something about those neighborhoods. I want you to know that Chris is passionate about community development and has successfully partnered with the Detroit Public Schools to help underserved schools and their surrounding neighborhoods. You guys, he is in the thick of it, making serious transformations and revitalizations to underprivileged areas. And so there's so much more that I could say about Chris. He is absolutely a jewel. He has a heart of gold. And I'm excited to welcome him to We Got Issues. Chris. So Chris, I know we have about 1 minute before we go to our first break. And stop laughing, Sabrina. Before we go to our first break. So in that 1 minute, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself? And then when we come back from the break, I want you to finish telling them what made you want to do what you're doing today.
All right, First Lady Crisette, it is an honor and a privilege to be on here with all of you amazing ladies. I think your show, in terms of quality of production, is Oprah level status. So this is a great honor. I am a guy who is, here's how I describe myself. I'm a follower of Jesus. I'm a husband of an amazing wife. We've been married for 17 years. We have 2 sons. They're 12 and 9, and we actually live in the neighborhood where you used to live in Sherwood Forest. We're proud Detroiters, love the city, and everything we do is because we want to be a little bit more like this certain Jewish construction worker who lived 2,000 years ago, was brutally murdered, came back to life, and he's been in the remodeling business ever since, and he's remodeling my life, and we just want to be a part of his story.
Wow. In a nutshell, I mean, that's
Love it,
powerful
love it.
just in and of itself. We're going to go ahead and go to our first break. And when we come back, we want you to share a little bit about, you going to college in University of Indiana, what transpired there, how you ended up in Michigan, and how you ended up as the founder and CEO of Life Remodel. You guys, you're listening to We Got Issues on 910 AM, the Superstation, with the Force of Friendship. Our guest is Chris Lambert of Life Remodeled, and we will be right back after the break. We are back. And right before we took our break, we were listening to or hearing from our guest, Chris Lambert, who is the founder and CEO of Life Remodel. You all are listening to 910 AM, the Superstation. We got issues with the force of friendship. So Chris, tell us a little bit of your story, from the beginning. You went to college, think something happened there, and then you ended up in Detroit. How did all of that come about?
So I grew up in a small town in northern Indiana, so small that we didn't have a four-way stoplight until I was in middle school. Wow. And when it came to faith and spirituality, my parents would take my sister and I to church service maybe half the year because they felt like it was the right thing to do, but they never talked about God in the home. For some reason, I was this really, really spiritual kid, so much so that in junior high, classmates gave me the nickname Lambert the Jesus Freak. When I turned 16, I hit a growth spurt and I became kind of a big fish in a small pond in athletics. My high school had about 1,100 kids because these three different little towns went to the same high school. And basically, I started looking around at my buddies who were not following God, and I started thinking, wow, I think they're having a lot more fun in life than me and my little youth group. So I'm going to become more like them. Long story short, I completely walked away from my faith from the ages of 16 to 22, did whatever I thought was going to make me the most happy. That involved a whole lot of drugs, alcohol, and everything that comes along with that, right? So I went to Indiana University. I was studying business. I was getting ready to go to law school and become a real estate developer. I joined the largest fraternity on campus so I could have more of everything I was looking for. My junior year, I decided to move to Australia for 6 months and study overseas. And while I was there, I had what I would call a radical encounter with God that changed the whole trajectory of my life. And the kind of the biggest transformation that happened was prior to this experience, I loved my mom, my dad, my sister, my fraternity brothers, the girl I thought I was going to marry at the time, but I really didn't care about the rest of the world. It wasn't like I was a bully, but I just didn't pay any attention. After this experience with God, I began to just care about everybody I would meet. So I moved back to Indiana University for my senior year. Before I left IU, there was not a single Jesus follower or Christian in this entire fraternity of 180 guys. Before I got back, this had nothing to do with me. My three best friends that also had these crazy spiritual experiences with Jesus, plus my drug dealer who was in jail. He got out. We got this Bible study going in the frat.
Wait,
All of a
Chris,
sudden
wait
we're-
a minute. Wait a minute. This is too juicy good. This is too juicy good. Okay, go ahead.
So we get this Bible study going in the fraternity, and all of a sudden we're leading all these guys to Jesus. And I'm thinking about my future, and I'm feeling like I don't want to go to law school and become a real estate developer. That's just about me trying to make a bunch of money and be powerful. And I felt like God was calling me to be a pastor. So canceled law school, moved out to Los Angeles, studied at a seminary out there, met the woman who became my wife. She is an incredible lady. I married way up. She was born in Romania, but moved to Detroit when she was 2. She never wanted to move back to the Detroit area. She grew up in a very religious, conservative home where women sit on one side of the church, men sit on the other. You know, she didn't want to come back into that, right? I never wanted to move back to the Midwest because I love LA. My wife and I both love LA to this day. Every time we visit, it's hard to come back. But we come back, and we came to Detroit for the first time in 2007 because we strongly felt God calling us to this city. And it really just came in line with who we've understood the person of Jesus to be, and that he spent the majority of his ministry with people who experienced the most oppression and marginalization. And that calling of Jesus calling us into the city was very much based on how he lived his life. And so we moved into the city in 2007. Before that, we actually moved to Africa for 9 months. I lived in a mud hut in a Muslim village with no running water. And that's where I learned community development. Started a church in 2007 and then started Life Remodeled in 2010. There's my story.
Wow. That is a story, Chris. When I tell you, let me just say this. I'm a first lady. Caterina is a first lady. And when I tell you in about 10 minutes, you have said Jesus more than both of us have said Jesus. So thank you very much for saying that name. I mean, I am so excited, and it's so refreshing to meet individuals who are loud about, you know, their love for God, not ashamed of their love of God, and are walking out the principles of what God has asked us to do. And so I just want to stop and thank you for sharing your faith and sharing how powerful the transformation was for you, and now how you are taking that and make it a difference in so many lives in the city of Detroit. So talk to us a little bit about Life Remodeled. What is it that Life Remodeled does?
Well, before I tell you what we do, I always like to start with our why. Why do we do what we do? All right. And everything that we do at Life Remodeled is because we believe this, that largely because of our country's deep and tragic history of systemic racism, which of course includes slavery, Jim Crow, the GI Bill, redlining, mass incarceration, and so much more, many Detroit families are still not experiencing equitable access to opportunities to thrive in the areas of education, health and wellness, and economic prosperity. And so obviously Life Remodeled doesn't have the power to end systemic racism, but what do we do to create equitable opportunities for Detroit families, or African-American families in particular? We repurpose vacant school buildings into one-stop hubs of opportunity. We fill them with the best and brightest nonprofits and several for-profit entrepreneurs, and we help them collaborate not only with each other, but most importantly, with the students and residents who they're working alongside in these communities we serve with.
Wow, that's powerful. So, Chris, tell us a little bit about some of the renovations that you've already done.
Well, our organization's strategy has changed a lot over the years. We actually used to build houses in 6 days and then transform the surrounding community. Then in 2014, we started renovating existing high schools in Detroit. We would do a different high school every year for 3 straight years, and we'd invest a little over $5 million per year, per school, per community. And then starting in 2017, we shifted focus because the Detroit Public Schools Community District asked us to repurpose a vacant school building that's a beautiful building. It looks like Harry Potter school. It's the best way I can describe it.
Wow.
And what we've done with this school is not only bring it up to code, but made it beautiful. It has a totally free arcade and a free laundromat, a free open gym. It's got a gorgeous auditorium, and then 39 organizations who've moved in and are really making substantial impact in the surrounding community.
Wow.
I mean, that's a lot, Chris. That is so powerful. I remembered, and what year was it? Was it 2016? What year was that?
2014. You joined us on our first school renovation at Cody High School.
At Cody High School. You guys. Cody, you remember Cody?
Yes.
Gloria. Cody High School. I promise you, I was invited to an event. I met Chris. I heard about what they wanted to do, and I took it back to our women's ministry, and we got dressed. We came, I mean, we were cleaning up, picking up, nailing. I mean, when I tell you, that was one of the most memorable things that I have done. It was just so awesome to see so many people come together on one accord. You know, the Bible talks about how when you come on one accord, it gets God's attention. And so everybody was intentional of cleaning up that area. And when it was over and done, that is absolutely a masterpiece. It's absolutely a beautiful area. So it tells us that you just need somebody that has a vision for where there's no vision, the people perish, but where there is vision, they prosper. And so, you know, the vision that you had for that area was absolutely outstanding. And so, Chris, when you think about revitalization and you think about, you know, so many urban areas that are like Detroit, you know, what are some of the steps, or what are some of the things that other people can do? Because Detroit isn't an anomaly. It's like so many other places around the country. What are some of the steps that you can do in order to bring some of the revitalization that you've been able to bring to Detroit, other places?
Well, I've been taking a good look at a number of cities around the country because we're hoping to replicate this model in Detroit and other cities. And one thing that I've seen that's very similar in a number of cities, Chicago, St. Louis, Indianapolis, Houston, and really cities across America where you've seen a lot of depopulation, is you have a large number of vacant school buildings. And I just want to reflect for a second with everyone about when you think how school buildings were built back in the day. They were literally built in the center of communities, and they were designed as hubs of opportunity for academics, athletics, and social advancement. When a school building closes and becomes vacant, in many ways, that can become a dagger to the heart of hope for a community. And so the ability to take a vacant school and repurpose it in ways that not only brings opportunities to children, but to the entire family, I think is a much needed project that can be applied in many urban areas across the country where we've seen that depopulation. Right. And I say all that to say it is an extremely difficult feat, but we've proven it can be done. And I would like to see that done. And it doesn't matter who does it, right? I mean, there's so many schools, and your husband, Bishop Ellis, said it best when he spoke at our press conference 2 weeks ago, that there's really opportunity for everyone. And if we all take a piece of the city or the cities that we live in and we're working in, it becomes a great city for everybody.
Wow, that is so true. It's nothing wrong with a city being a great city for everyone. Oh, this conversation is so good, Chris, so good. So you are listening to We Got Issues on 9:10 a.m., the Superstation with the Force of Friendship. We're talking with Chris Lambert, the CEO and founder of Life Remodel. We're going to continue this conversation right after we take a break. We'll be back. Are coming back. You are listening to We Got Issues on 9:10 a.m. the Superstation with the Force of Friendship. Our special guest today is Chris Lambert, founder and CEO of Life Remodeled. And I'm telling you, this is such an important conversation that we're having. We're talking about urban neighborhood revitalization. And Chris, I'm telling you, this is it's so powerful, but it also makes you, when you hear your story, you hear what you're doing for the urban areas, it just makes you feel like, hey, I need to roll up my sleeve. I need to do more, because we all play a part in making sure that everybody can live in a place that has a great school, in a place that is safe, in a great neighborhood. I mean, people think that people just want to live in a raggedy neighborhood. But when you get to know people, most reasonable people want to live in a neighborhood, live in an area where people cut their grass. They want to live in an area where people take out their trash, don't throw it on the lawn. I mean, most reasonable people, that's what they want. And so I'm just excited that we have an opportunity to do some things like that. I'm going to throw it over to Gloria. I know Gloria had a couple of questions for you, Chris.
Yeah, this is so exciting. You know, coming from Detroit, let me say that again. Coming from Detroit, let me say that one more time. Coming from Detroit, and my son lives in Detroit, and my two grandsons live in Detroit, and his wife. So I love the fact that you're committed to the city of Detroit. My question, Chris, because you started talking about this a little bit before the break, is how do we duplicate this across the country? I totally agree that when a school is vacant, it is such a stealer of hope to the community, because it is such a big part of the vision that what you see when you see the grass growing tall, and it feels like immediately nobody cares. It's an immediate nobody cares. But you said it was really hard. So I have two questions. One is, are there tax advantages? What is the advantage of people doing that? And what do you see when you said that? What do you see as the biggest hurdle to do that in some cities other than Detroit, where the groundwork has been laid?
Yeah, love that. So I can't speak with a lot of information about what it's going to look like in other cities because we haven't attempted it yet in other cities, but I've spoken with a number of community leaders in various cities. And here's what I would say. I'll start with the challenges. So there's a reason so many vacant school buildings sit for many, 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 many years. One reason is because they are not financially viable, rehabable properties. Especially when you look at school buildings that were built in the early 1900s, there's no insulation in the walls. They weren't built to be remodeled. And the longer they sit, they become dilapidated to the point where they almost can't be rehabbed at all. And the only way that I've seen that it can be done is when there is a significant influx of philanthropic dollars into that particular capital stack for that project. Yes, there are tax incentive opportunities. There are new market tax credits. There's historic tax credits. And there's benefits often to not even pursuing the historical tax credits. Like in particular, we're hoping to buy the former Cooley High School, which is on the west side of Detroit. And that building is 321,000 square feet, sitting on 18 acres, but it's been sitting since 2010. And the windows have been ripped out, the copper's ripped out. Unfortunately, there's active roof leaks. If that building doesn't get renovated very soon with a new roof on it, it's going to be unrehabable. But for that project to be done, it's about a $37.5 million project. And we're going to raise, God willing, we're going to be able to purchase the property. We're going to raise $20 million of philanthropy to make that happen. A for-profit developer would not take on that project because at the end of the day, it would be a loss financially. And so I think it's important for not only Detroiters, but for those who are in cities that have long time in abandoned vacant schools to realize that really these are not assets. These buildings are liabilities. And they could be turned into assets. But it's not an easy task. And there is no shortage of individuals who've talked about renovating schools in Detroit, but there's a reason there's over 60 of them sitting vacant as we speak.
Wow,
and that's just one of the
60.
reasons. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. And I'm sure that's probably, you could see that in any major city around the country. Caterina?
Yeah. I mean, my mouth is just open. We recently went, as I was talking about redecorating, we went and looked at some different model homes. And one place we drove, I was like, this school looks like a university. I mean, I could not imagine going to a high school like that. And so the question I wanted to ask you, Chris, because we went and looked at, as we were driving past different high schools, just the difference in the building alone. Could you tell a couple of stories just about, I could imagine the academic success of the kids, how much it increases just from the building alone. Walking into a building that is current.
We don't build school buildings today like they used to be built in the early 1900s. I mean, you walk through these hallways of the Durfee Innovation Society, you're going to see plaster crown moldings, you're going to see wood paneling, marble walls, neo-Gothic slate architecture, a slate roof out front, masonry that we couldn't even find the artists today to do. And it really does speak to the amount of love that went into the education of children and the centrality of a school building built in the center of a community with community around it. And, don't get me wrong, there's plenty of great things happening in education today. Although I think the construction of schools is one area where we've gone backwards and not forwards.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Wow.
I got a question, Chris. I got a question. Thank you. You're doing remarkable work. We're so grateful to have a man with a heart like yours for the people. Where's the funding come from to go to a school and put nonprofit businesses in there? Where does the funding come from?
We raise our funding from really 3 different sources. One would be individuals, another source would be businesses, another source would be foundations. And what I've learned about fundraising is, and this is true of all of life, right? Everything in life is about relationships. And just like we talked about earlier, I believe our vertical relationship with God is where it really all happens. And then, second to that is our relationship with one another. And when it comes to philanthropy, certainly developing relationships over a long period of time and building trust with philanthropists that you will see a project through and you will make it sustainable goes a very long way. The project that we hope to undertake at Cooley is something we never could have done had we not successfully completed the many other projects that got us to the point where we are today. And then it's one thing to undertake a project, it's another thing to make it sustainable. And so when you look at our model at the Durfee Innovation Society, what we've done is we charge under market value lease rates that are actually at the cost that it costs to operate this building. And we filled this building with 39 of the best and brightest organizations. Not only does that make for incredible services and opportunities in the community, but that makes this project fully financially self-sustaining. And so we do not need a single philanthropic dollar to run the Durfee Innovation Society anymore. And that is really appealing to donors when they think about investing in a project that will outlive them and that won't keep coming back to the well and saying, well, I need some money for the roof. No, that's all going to be covered by the business model.
Wow, that's so powerful. It kind of,
So private, all private funds, no state, county tax money. It's all private.
So far, that's what we've done. But when we pursue the Cooley project, we are going to pursue new market tax credits, which is a federal program. And basically, projects are scored based on certain elements in terms of how they're benefiting society and benefiting surrounding community. And the project that we want to undertake is one that would score very high on the list. We'd certainly love to pursue American Rescue Plan funding if it becomes available for our project. So there's no source of funding that we would say no to. I want to make that clear for anybody listening who might have a funding source we haven't mentioned. All right. But that's how we've done the work so far.
That's remarkable. And you know what? This is clearly urban renewal, not urban removal, which so many of us are, what we experience a lot. So thank you. Thank you. Back to you, Chris.
Wow, Chris, that is so powerful. You know, it's that old adage, if you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. But if you teach him how to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. And that's pretty much what your model is. If you give me, teach me how to fish, I can maintain. You don't have to keep coming back for dollars to maintain it. You know what? We're almost coming up on a break, but what I do want to ask you is, how has the community changed since these renovations has taken place? What have you seen happen in those neighborhoods where those schools were refurbished and revitalized?
Well, I'll start by the numbers. So in this building alone, this Durfee Innovation Society, we're able to help 2,500 youth every year get into great youth programming after school, whether it's math tutoring, reading tutoring, and we're seeing math and reading scores improve significantly in the lives of a number of children. We're able to assist 4,500 adults with sustainable, livable wage jobs through Detroit at Work, through construction trades programming, through low voltage technology training, and a number of other programs. And then when it comes to a variety of community resources, partners like Methodist Children's Home Society are serving 900 senior citizens. There's a free diaper and formula bank here for infants. There's mental health services, pediatric health services, a cancer support group, and really everything in between.
Wow, Chris. I mean, that is, it sounds like a dream but to know that it's reality is just amazing. Oh my goodness, this conversation is so good. You guys, you are listening to We Got Issues on 9:10 a.m. the Superstation with the Force of Friendship and our guest, Chris Lambert. We're going to take a break and we will continue the conversation right after this break.
Hi, Charlotte. How are you?
All right, we are back. We are back. And when I tell you, this is such a wonderful conversation that we're having, talking about urban neighborhood revitalization. And this is just so powerful. And we are so thankful to have our guest, Chris Lambert, who is the founder and CEO of Life Remodeled. And Chris, before I forget, please tell people how they can find out more about Life Remodeled if they're interested in donating. And maybe we have someone listening to say, oh, I have a great resource. We absolutely want them to let you know about it. So can you tell them how they can find you and what they can do to donate to this amazing, so needed cause?
Please check us out on our website, liferemodeled.org. That's LIFEREMODELED.org. And come one, come all are welcome. It takes a village to raise a child, and teamwork makes the dream work.
Mm-hmm. Right. Awesome. Caterina, I know you had a follow-up question that you wanted to ask.
Yes, you kind of hit on it, but it just seems to me, I know if the when the school is not up to par and you come in and do what you've just done, that must trickle into other areas in the community. I think you kind of talked about that, but I was wondering, does that also trickle into the number one thing that determines where a parent moves is the quality of the school? So then does the housing, does that cause some of the housing to go up because it becomes more attractive? You know, I was just wondering kind of about what the ripple effect is of both positive and, you know, are some of those people in that same community now, is it possible they could get priced out because the private folks that did not come in to fund the school kind of take advantage of, wow, now we've got this amazing school. Now let's build these amazing houses, which displaces people also. So kind of a jumble of questions, but can you address that or how you handle that to make sure there's...
I love the questions because, I mean, these are the deep, necessary conversations that are critical to urban neighborhood revitalization versus urban neighborhood removal, which, Ms. Monday, you brought up earlier. And, I want to go back to that concept that talent is evenly distributed all over the world, but opportunity is not. And so what we're talking about, what we do with the vacant school buildings, it's all about creating access to opportunity. And there's neighborhoods we will not go to. We will not go to a neighborhood that's already been gentrified. What we do is we go to neighborhoods before gentrification comes. And I believe the way you avoid displacement is by creating opportunity for the residents who've already experienced decades of injustice that they didn't ask for, right? Kids didn't ask to be born into a zip code where it's literally raining inside their school when it's raining outside, or where there's not enough books, or where there's not enough opportunity for their mom or their dad, or so on and so forth. And so when you create that opportunity for those who've already lived there and experienced injustice, then they're able to get to a place where they can choose to live in the neighborhood that they're in and make it the community they want it to be. And when development comes and follows, because it does and it will, developers will come in and renovate homes and build new houses, and that's a good thing. But you don't want that to happen at the expense of people who've experienced so much oppression and so much injustice for years. And that's why philanthropy is so important, right? Because there is not a pure capitalistic incentive to revitalize a neighborhood, because at the end of the day, you're investing millions of dollars that you'll never see back in your pocket, but society will benefit from those dollars far beyond anything that we would spend otherwise in the long run. And it's all about people, right?
Right.
Absolutely. Sabrina?
Absolutely.
Yeah. How do you vet who gets to come into those buildings at that below market rate? How do you vet the organizations? Who gets to come?
One of the things I want to talk about is who's in our building, and also by the numbers. 39 organizations, 77% of them are led by people of color, and 67% of our 39 organizations are led by ladies. So we're really proud. Give it up for the ladies. I'm with you 100%. And who we're looking for is the best and brightest, right? We're looking for organizations that are moving the needle. And here's how we identified which categories to look for of organizations. We engaged community members for months. And in fact, we continue to engage the community even to this day, and we will forever, because communities are always changing, evolving, and growing. And when we engage the community and ask community members, what opportunities do you want to see more of in your community? We spoke with thousands of community members, and there were 4 opportunities that really rose to the top that people just kept talking about over and over and over. People said we want to see more youth programs, more jobs, more opportunities for entrepreneurs, and more community resources. And so those are the organizations that we look for, are organizations that are in Detroit, that are moving the needle in one of those 4 areas. And by bringing them together, we're helping society significantly, because I've been guilty of doing this as a nonprofit leader. Sometimes we as nonprofit leaders operate in silos with blinders on, and we focus on just our one issue. And the reality is no one nonprofit has all the solutions to society's challenges. So society wins when we work collaboratively.
Wow,
Yeah,
that
good.
is so awesome. You guys, we have a caller. And I know we just have a few minutes, but I want to bring this caller in because I think you know him, Chris. Daryl, are you on the line?
Absolutely. How you doing, First Lady?
I'm doing
well.
Great. This is a powerful show, and I think that it speaks to your great leadership to have a vision, to have Chris to come on to talk about community revitalization. It's so important in our city. I always say that we have to have a street game and not just a street game. Like we might have a street game, because we are in the midst of the community, listening to the people, bringing life-saving resources into the community. And so I'm very, very happy that you bringing this to light. And we need this more and more because our community is crying out for help.
Right.
And so the resources that will go into Cooley High School is just amazing.
That's
You talk about health clinic and mental health services and all those types of things. So thank you, First Lady, and thank you for rolling up your sleeves and volunteering and helping clean up some of the blight in the city as well.
And I'm ready to roll them up again. I'm ready to roll them up. I got herbs, I got a coat. I'm ready to roll them up. And I might even get my girlfriend Sabrina, who lives in Ohio.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Help us. You ready?
I'm
All
ready.
right. You heard her, Chris. She said she's ready. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Daryl, for calling in. Thank you so much for the work that you have been doing in the city, especially with our young people. I mean, you're doing an amazing job as well. And I know you and Chris together, wow. That is a combination that is so super powerful. And Detroit is so blessed to have both of you. So thank you so much, Daryl, for calling in.
Tell us one more time how people can get in touch with your organization. I want them to hear. You know, they say you got to tell people over and over and over again before they get it. So tell us how they can support this this awesome organization.
You can check out our website at liferemodeled.org or our Facebook page, which is also Life Remodeled, LIFEREMODELED. We got a really special event coming up on Thursday. It's our annual event, and it's going to include a performance by the Detroit Youth Choir. They're going to sing a song, Bill Withers' Lean on Me, but instead of Lean on Me, it's Lean on We. And we've actually been running a campaign for about the last 3 months where we've been putting billboards up throughout Metro Detroit, the city and the suburbs, acknowledging the 10 community members in the Durfee Central community who've had the most impact on our mission. And, you know, a quote that Elder Daryl Woods taught me, he's taught me so many things. He's a mentor to me. We're friends, but he's my mentor, and he does the community engagement for Life Remodeled. Daryl Woods says, the difference between illness and wellness is the I and the we. And so it's all about we, right? Lean on we. That's why we do what we do. And First Lady, I want to follow up again with what Elder Daryl Woods said about you rolling up your sleeves. That gave me a beautiful perspective of who you are, who Bishop Ellis is, and who Greater Grace Church is. You are not just talking the talk, you're walking the walk.
Well, thank you so much. This has been such a powerful show on today. We absolutely want to have you come back, Chris, and update us on all the wonderful things that you are doing in the city of Detroit. This has been amazing. You guys have been listening to. We got issues on 9:10 a.m., the Superstation with the Force of Friendship. We'll see you on tomorrow at 6 p.m. Goodbye, everybody.